Symbols that you may see. This symbol. When you see a symbol, you have to say a word, an English word, for example, in the English language. So when you see this symbol, you will say the number 5. So a symbol represents a word. So that's why most mathematicians will tell you maths have a language characteristic about it, because this is the English language and you say the word number 5. But when you look at this, you still say 5. So they are interrelated. They are translated from one to the next. Symbols translated to words. When you see two parallel lines like this, that's what you see, equal sign. Whenever you see any one of these signs, that's what you have to see. Inequality signs. This is an inequality sign. This one is an inequality sign. This is an inequality sign. This is another inequality sign. There are 4 inequality signs. So just like when you see the symbol, you say 5. When you see the symbol, you say equal. When you see this symbol, you have to say inequality sign. And the inequality sign now has a less than part and a greater than part. So if you take a look at the equal sign, the two lines are parallel. One is not greater than the other. On both ends, equally spaced. But when you look at this sign, there is a point and an opening. The point is called the less than part, and the opening is called the greater than part. Less than part, greater than part. Greater than part, less than part. Greater than part, less than part. 2 of them comes with the equal sign. And here you have an amplification, a magnification of the symbol. This, the opening is called greater than. Not this sign, not the symbol. The greater than is referring to a section of it. So this part, if you are analyzing this part, you will say greater than. But this does not refer to the symbol itself. The symbol, the name for the symbol is an inequality sign, which has a greater than part. The word for the opening symbol is greater than. The opening, that's called greater than, not the symbol. Always start with the X. Say X is. So when there is the letter X or any number associated to this symbol, you start with it. And what you see, the part that you see, that's what you see. Because you can start from the right. If you look at it, these 2 symbols, they are pointing in the same direction. The point is called less than, not the symbol. This point is called less than, the opening is called greater than. The word for the point symbol is called less than. Always start to read by saying X is, because X can be at the greater than, X can be at the less than part. And always remember, in mathematics, you can read from left to right, up and down. You can read from any direction. So it depends on what you meet first. That's what you see. If you meet the point, you say less than. You always start with the X. And if you meet the point, you say less than. If you meet the opening, you say greater than. But the symbol itself is called the inequality sign. Here, the letter X can be replaced with the phrase, there is one value that is. Symbols and words. What you see and what you say. So if you see this, you can say there is a value or one value that is 5. X is equal to 5. So in a complete sentence, when you look at this, you can say, well, there is a value. Well, there is one value that is 5. That's what this is. That's what you can say when you see this. Or in short, you can say X is equal to 5. But what is X? You can replace the letter X with this, there is one value. That is. Here, you can start with the X. Always try to start with the X. There is a value or one value that is 9. X is equal to 9. That's the shorter version of saying it. But in a complete sentence, there is a value that is equal to 9. Feel comfortable, get accustomed of reading mathematics sentences from the right to left. The reason why we're prone to start from the left to right, because that's how we read in English. We are trained to read from left to right, and we try to apply it with mathematics. You know, there are certain countries that read from right to left, the Arabic countries. But in mathematics, you can read from right to left. So always start with the X. And not only right to left, you can read diagonally. Start with the X. There is a value or one value that is 7. X is equal to 7. The inequality sign. Inequality in mathematics, a statement of an order, direction, relationship of greater than or equal to, less than or equal to, between two numbers or algebraic expression. And what is the symbol for it? Here it is. So if X is on that side, you will say greater than. If X is on this side, you will say less than. If X is on this side, you will say less than. If X is on that side, you will say greater than. It depends on where X is. So as a rule, you can start with the X. And as soon as you come from the X and you go to the sign, if you meet the opening, you say greater than. If you meet the point, you say less than. With this rule in mind, all of this will not confuse you. You can see how it is pointing all over the place. The opening is called greater than. The point is called less than. You always start with the X. Greater than, less than. Greater than, less than. Less than, greater than. Less than, greater than, greater than, less than. It depends on where the X is located. But the sign itself is called the inequality sign. Like a not equal sign, if you want to put it that way. So always try to begin reading from the letter X. Instead of saying X, you can also say all the numbers that are. So you can remember when we talk about the equal sign. X is equal to 5. There is a number. See the difference? There is a number whose value is 5. But when you are dealing with the inequality sign, you have to say all the numbers that are. When you start with the X and you meet the opening, you must say greater than. When you start with the X and you meet the point, you should and must say less than. And you can replace the letter X by saying all the numbers that are. For reiteration purposes, it depends on where the X is at. X is greater than all the numbers that are greater than. X is less than all the numbers that are less than. And you can see it is pointing in the same direction. And here you are saying greater than and less than. So do not call this sign like how we used to call it before. When you see it, say it is the inequality sign. It is pointing in the same direction and you are saying two different things because it has two different parts. And you must start, as a rule of thumb, start with the X and you can replace the letter X with the phrase all the numbers that are. All the numbers that are greater than, all the numbers that are less than. Again, you see it is pointing in the opposite direction. It depends on where the X is. X is less than all the numbers that are less than. X is greater than all the numbers that are greater than. Here are some examples to practice this. Less than, that's the point. Greater than, that's the opening. Always try to start reading from the letter X. You can also start by saying all the numbers that are. When someone says, what is X? Here, X is all the numbers that are. Symbols and words, you see. When you see this, what do you say? You can say all the numbers that are greater than 5. That's what this is expressing. X is greater than 5. What is X? All the numbers that are greater than 5. Numbers like 5.3, 6, 7.5, 8, 10, a million. When you look at this, what do you see? X, or you can say all the numbers that are less than 8. X is less than 8. Numbers like what? 7.96, 1, negative 3, 0. All the numbers that are less than 8 always start with the letter X. When you see this, you start with X. And when you look at X, X is between 10 and 18. All the numbers that are between 10 and 18, exclusively, because the equal sign is not there. So 18 and 10 are not included in all these numbers. X is greater than 10, as you can see, all the numbers that are greater than 10 and all the numbers that are less than 18. Numbers like what? Numbers like 10.2, numbers like 12, numbers like 15, numbers like 17.9, numbers like 16.5. All the numbers that are greater than 10 and they are also less than 18. Always start with the X. Here you have a situation. X is all the numbers that are greater than or equal to 8. So therefore 8 is included here. X is greater than or equal to 8, meaning all the numbers that are greater than or equal to 8. So get accustomed, whenever you see a sign, get accustomed of saying all the numbers that are. Numbers like 8, because 8 is included. Numbers like 8.9, 10, all the numbers that are greater than or equal to 8. Here's some more examples. Greater than, the opening part, less than, the point. Always try to start reading from the letter X, and you can also start by saying all the numbers that are. You see. What do you see? What do you see when you see this? You can say 12 or all the numbers greater than it. If you want to start with the 12, you can say it, you know. But if you start with 12, you have to say 12 or all the numbers that are greater than it. You see? X is greater than 12. X is greater than or equal to 12. 12 is included. 12, 12.3, 67. Here, X, all the numbers that are between negative 15 and 21 inclusive. So negative 15 and 21 are included. X is greater than or equal to negative 15 and less than or equal to 21. Numbers like negative 15, negative 12, 0, 19, 21 also is included. And here we have a situation, X is greater than or equal to 2. All the numbers that are greater than or equal to 2. So you're starting with 2 and you go up. 2, 9, 21, etc.